The human ship New Sol moved slowly through the dark space toward Harmony Point Station. Inside the main meeting room, Hana sat quietly in the corner. She was small and thin, with dark hair pulled back in a simple style. Her hands rested on a datapad, and she looked nervous as she watched the alien creatures across the table. The Vorthons were huge. Each one stood almost 3 meters tall with thick green scales covering their bodies. Their yellow eyes were cold and mean. Sharp teeth showed when they spoke. Their leader, War Commander Thexkar, had scars across his face and arms. He wore black armor with red marks that meant he had killed many enemies. Ambassador Kim Dojin led the human team. He was a calm man in his 50s with gray hair. He spoke in a steady voice and tried to keep everyone peaceful. Next to him sat Colonel Park Minho, a military man who watched the Vorthons carefully. His hand stayed near his weapon at all times. The meeting had been going on for hours. The humans wanted peace. The Vorthons seemed to want war. "Your species is weak," War Commander Thexkar said in broken human language. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stone. "You send soft diplomats instead of warriors. You bring word speakers instead of fighters." He pointed one clawed finger at Hana. The other Vorthons made sounds that might have been laughing. To them, she looked like a scared child. Ambassador Kim Dojin kept his voice calm. "We believe that words can solve problems better than weapons. Miss Lee is here to help us understand each other." Hana nodded and spoke quietly. "I will translate everything accurately for both sides." Her voice was soft and polite. War Commander Thexkar turned away from her like she was not important. He spoke to his officers in the Vorthon language. The words came out fast and angry. To most humans, it would sound like animal growls and hisses, but Hana understood every word. "Look at these pathetic creatures," Thexkar said in Vorthon. "The female is so small I could crush her with one hand. These humans think they can negotiate with us like equals." Another Vorthon officer replied, "Commander, should we continue this foolish game? Our ships are in position, the humans suspect nothing." "Patience, Vextar. Let them feel safe first. When they trust us completely, we will show them what real power looks like." Hana kept her face blank. She pretended to look at her notes while listening to every word. Her training had taught her to show no emotion, no matter what she heard. The Vorthons continued talking among themselves. They spoke about human weakness. They laughed about how easy it would be to destroy Earth's defenses. They made jokes about keeping humans as slaves or pets. Ambassador Kim Dojin could not understand the alien language. He looked at Hana. "What are they discussing?" Hana looked up from her pad. Her voice stayed calm and professional. "They are talking about their homeworld's weather patterns and military traditions, Ambassador. Normal conversation topics." It was not completely a lie. They had mentioned their military. But Hana knew she could not tell the full truth yet. Diplomatic rules said she had to stay neutral and only translate direct statements. War Commander Thexkar turned back to the humans. "We will consider your peace offer," he said in broken human words. "But humans must prove they are worthy of Vorthon attention." "What kind of proof do you need?" Colonel Park Minho asked. His voice was hard and suspicious. "Your people must give us 3-star systems on your border. You must send tribute ships with food and metal every year. You must remove all weapons from your frontier colonies." Ambassador Kim Dojin's face showed surprise. "Those terms are very harsh. Our people live in those systems. We cannot simply abandon them." "Then you are not serious about peace," Thexkar replied. His yellow eyes got brighter with anger. Weak species must learn their place in the galaxy. The other Vorthons made more of those laughing sounds. One of them spoke in their own language again. "These humans are even weaker than we thought, Commander. They will agree to anything to avoid a fight." "Perfect," Thexkar replied in Vorthon. "Tomorrow we will demand even more. Let them show us all their defensive positions and ship locations. Once we know everything, we can strike without warning." Hana wrote notes on her pad. Her hand did not shake even though her heart was beating faster. She had heard enough to know the Vorthons were planning something terrible. Colonel Park Minho watched the aliens carefully. Something felt wrong to him, but he could not tell what it was. Ambassador, perhaps we should take a break and discuss these demands privately. Yes, Ambassador Kim Dojin agreed. War Commander Thexkar shall. We meet again tomorrow morning. This gives both sides time to think about these important matters. War Commander Thexkar showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. Tomorrow we finish this discussion. I am sure we will reach an agreement that satisfies everyone. As the meeting ended, the Vorthons stood up. They were so tall that they made the human delegation look like children. Hana gathered her notes and datapad quietly. She kept her eyes down and tried to look small and unimportant. One young Vorthon officer looked at her with curiosity. Commander, why do humans bring females to important meetings? In our culture, only warriors make decisions. War Commander. Thexkar glanced at Hana dismissively. Human females are weak and emotional. This one is probably here to serve food or clean the meeting room. She cannot possibly understand our superior language or military ways. Hana heard every word, but showed no reaction. She simply walked behind Ambassador Kim Dojin as they left the meeting room. Back on the human ship, Ambassador Kim Dojin gathered his team in a private room. Those demands are impossible. No human government could agree to abandon entire star systems. Colonel Park Min-ho paced back and forth. Something is not right about this situation. The Vorthons seem too confident, like they already know how this will end. What did you think of their private conversations, Miss Lee? Ambassador, Kim Dojin asked. Hana looked up from her notes. For just a moment, her calm mask slipped. There was something dangerous in her dark eyes. Something that did not match her quiet, gentle appearance. They were discussing cultural matters, Ambassador. Nothing that changes our negotiation position. But, in her mind, Hana was already making plans. The Vorthons thought they were so smart. They thought humans were weak and stupid. They had no idea what they were really dealing with. Tomorrow would be very interesting indeed. The next morning came too early for most of the human delegation. Ambassador Kim Dojin looked tired as he reviewed his notes over breakfast. Colonel Park Min-ho sat across from him, drinking bitter coffee and studying tactical reports. Lee Hana ate her meal quietly in the corner. She looked like she had slept well, but her mind had been working all night. The Vorthon conversations from yesterday kept playing in her head. Every word, every tone, every hidden meaning. She remembered her training from years ago. Her instructor, Major Song Ji-hoon, had taught her to listen for patterns in alien speech. Words can lie, he had said, but patterns always tell the truth. The Vorthons were following a pattern. She had seen it before. 6 years ago, Hana had been Lieutenant Lee Hana of military intelligence. She wore a uniform then and carried weapons. Her job was to study alien languages and find threats to humanity. She was good at her work. Very good. Her younger brother Min-soo had been a communications officer on a border station. He was only 22 years old and always made jokes about everything. He wanted to be like his big sister and protect humanity from alien threats. Then the Vorthons had attacked the station without warning. They said it was self-defense. They claimed the humans had fired first. But Hana knew the truth. She had intercepted their communications before the attack. The Vorthons had planned everything. Min-soo died in the attack along with 300 other humans. After that, Hana left the military. She became a diplomat and interpreter. People thought she wanted a peaceful life. They were wrong. She wanted to prevent more attacks. She wanted to understand enemies so well that they could never surprise humanity again. Now she sat in this meeting room, listening to the same patterns she had heard before Min-soo died. The second day of negotiations began at 10 in the morning. War Commander Thexkar entered with his officers. They looked confident and relaxed, too relaxed for beings who were supposedly negotiating for peace. Today we will discuss the details of your surrender, Thexkar said in broken human language. Ambassador Kim Dojin raised his eyebrows. I believe you mean the details of our peace agreement, War Commander. Of course. Peace agreement, Thexkar replied. But his yellow eyes showed amusement. As the talks continued, the Vorthans spoke freely in their own language. They thought the humans could not understand them. They were very wrong about one human. Status report, Thexkar said quietly in Vorthan, to one of his officers. All ships are in position, Commander. The strike fleet maintains distance but can reach this station in 30 minutes. Our weapons are charged and ready. And the human defenses? They have shown us their ship locations and patrol routes. Very trusting of them. Our tactical computers have identified 17 weak points in their formation. Hana kept taking notes. Her hand moved smoothly across the datapad, but she was recording much more than translation notes. War Commander Thexkar looked directly at the humans. We require more proof of your commitment to peace. You must provide us with complete maps of your military bases and defense networks. Colonel Park Min-ho leaned forward. That information is classified for security reasons. If you want peace, you must trust us, Thexkar replied. Secrets cause wars. Openness brings peace. It was a clever trick. Make the humans feel guilty for being cautious. Make them think that keeping secrets proved they wanted war. Ambassador Kim Do-jin looked uncomfortable. Perhaps we can share some basic information about our frontier defenses. Nothing too detailed. That would be a good start, Thexkar agreed. But in Vorthan, he said to his officers, perfect. Once we have their defense maps, we can plan our real attack. These stupid humans are making our job easy. Another officer replied in Vorthan, Commander, what about the interpreting female? Should we be concerned about her presence? Thexkar looked at Hana with contempt. Look at her. She is small and weak. She probably understands only basic diplomatic phrases. Human females are not warriors or scholars. She is here to make the males feel important. The other Vorthans made their laughing sounds again. Hana continued writing. Inside, she felt cold anger growing, not just at the insults, but at the plan she was hearing unfold. The Vorthans were going to attack the human fleet during the negotiations. They would claim the humans had betrayed the peace talks. Then they would invade human space. It was exactly what had happened to Minsu's station. During the lunch break, Hana walked alone through the corridors of Harmony Point Station. The station was neutral territory, run by the peaceful Centauri Republic. The Centauri looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin. They believed in diplomacy and hated violence. Hana found a private communication booth and activated her emergency codes. A secure channel opened to a location that was officially classified. Control, this is Nightingale, she said quietly. Nightingale, this is Control. Report status. Pattern 7 is confirmed. The subjects are following historical precedent. Estimated time to implementation is 18 hours. There was a pause, then a different voice came on the channel. It was older, with authority. Nightingale, this is Overwatch. Are you certain of your analysis? Confirmed, Overwatch. All indicators match previous incidents. They are planning the Minsu protocol. Another pause. The voice came back harder than before. Authorization level? I am requesting Authority 7 clearance. Nightingale. Authority 7 means no diplomatic immunity, no political protection. You understand the implications? Hana thought about her brother. She thought about 300 dead humans on a border station. She thought about the Vorthans laughing about human weakness. I understand completely, Overwatch. Authority 7 is granted. Execute your discretion. The channel closed. Hana walked back to the meeting room. She looked the same as before. Quiet, nervous, unimportant. But something had changed inside her. The peaceful interpreter was still there. But underneath, something much more dangerous was waking up. The afternoon session began with the humans providing basic defense information to the Vorthans. Ambassador Kim Do-jin believed he was building trust. Colonel Park Min-ho clearly had doubts, but followed orders. War Commander Thexkar studied the information carefully. In Vorthan, he told his officers, "This is better than we hoped. Their frontier defenses are weaker than our intelligence estimated. We can break through their lines in less than 6 hours." "When do we begin the real operation?" asked another officer. "Tomorrow morning. During the final peace ceremony, we will signal our fleet. The humans will be trapped here while we destroy their ships. Then we broadcast their treachery to the galaxy. Hana heard every word. She made her final notes and prepared for what was coming. That night she did not sleep. Instead, she sat by her small window looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Vorthan warships were moving into position. Somewhere out there, human ships were following patrol routes that the enemy now knew perfectly. But also somewhere, out there, other ships were moving. Ships that the Vorthans did not know about. Ships that Hana had just summoned with her coded message. Tomorrow would be very different from what anyone expected. The third morning brought false hope to the human delegation. Ambassador Kim Dojin smiled as he reviewed the final peace treaty. He believed that diplomacy had won. Colonel Park Min-ho still looked worried, but even he seemed to think the negotiations might succeed. Lee Hana sat in her usual corner, quiet and unnoticed. She had her datapad ready and her hands folded calmly in her lap. But under the table, her fingers found a small device hidden in her clothing. A device that looked like a simple medical monitor but was actually much more. The meeting room filled with both delegations. War Commander Thexkar entered with his full ceremonial guard. 6 huge Vorthan warriors in black armor surrounded him. Their weapons were supposed to be ceremonial, but Hana noticed they were fully charged and ready for combat. The Centauri station master, a silver-skinned being named Veltaran, officiated the ceremony. Today marks a new beginning between 2 great civilizations, he announced in his musical voice. Let this peace treaty bring prosperity to both species. Ambassador Kim Dojin stood to sign the documents. This agreement shows that understanding can overcome fear and aggression. War Commander Thexkar also stood, but instead of moving toward the treaty table, he stepped back toward his guards. In ancient Vorthan battle cant, a military dialect, used only by elite warriors, he spoke a single phrase. Keth Morval Thexani, pray things have entered the killing ground. Most humans would have heard only growling sounds. Even most Vorthans would not have understood the archaic military language. But Lee Hana understood every syllable. The Vorthan guards raised their weapons. The peaceful ceremony became a trap in seconds. What is the meaning of this? Ambassador Kim Dojin demanded, but his voice shook with sudden fear. War Commander Thexkar switched to broken human language, but his tone was completely different now. Cold and cruel. The meaning is simple. You are prisoners. Your ships will be destroyed. Your colonies will be ours. Colonel Park Min-ho reached for his sidearm, but Vorthan weapons were already pointed at him. This is a violation of neutral territory. The Centauri will report this to the Galactic Council. Thexkar laughed, a harsh sound like breaking glass. The Centauri will report that humans fired first, that humans betrayed the peace talks, that Vorthans had to defend themselves. Station Master Veltaran looked terrified. War Commander, this is neutral space. I cannot allow violence here. You cannot prevent it either, Thexkar replied. He spoke quickly in Vorthan to one of his officers. Signal the fleet. Begin the attack on the human ships. Make it look like the humans shot first. Through the meeting room windows, the humans could see flashes of light in space. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers against the stars. The trap was working perfectly. Ambassador Kim Dojin's face went pale. You planned this from the beginning. You never intended to make peace. Peace? Thexkar showed all his sharp teeth. Weak species do not deserve peace. They deserve conquest, or extinction. The Vorthan warriors moved closer to the human delegation. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. In a few moments, the humans would be dead and the Vorthans could claim they died while attempting treachery. But then Lee Hana stood up. She moved slowly and calmly, like someone rising from a pleasant conversation. Her datapad remained in one hand while the other stayed hidden in her jacket. When she spoke, her voice was completely different from the quiet, nervous tone she had used for 3 days. War Commander Thexkar, she said in perfect, fluent Vorthan. Not broken diplomatic phrases, but the sophisticated language of educated military officers. The effect was electric. Every Vorthan in the room froze. Thexkar stared at her with shock and growing anger. You speak our tongue? He demanded in Vorthan. I speak your tongue better than half your subordinates, Hana replied in the same language. Her accent was flawless. Her grammar was perfect. Her vocabulary included military terms that most civilians never learned. Impossible. You are just a word speaker. A weak human female. I am many things you did not expect, Hana said. She switched to ancient Vorthan battle cant, the same archaic dialect Thexkar had used moments before. But most importantly, I am the witness to your dishonor. Now, the Vorthan guards looked confused. Their commander had just been challenged in their own ceremonial language by a small human female. In their culture, such a challenge required response. Thexkar's yellow eyes blazed with rage. You dare speak the words of warriors? You dare use our sacred battle tongue? I dare many things, Hana replied, still in perfect Vorthan, including this. She pressed the hidden device in her jacket. Immediately, every communication system in the meeting room activated. Screens lit up. Speakers crackled to life. And from every device came the recorded voices of Vorthan officers planning their attack. Every word they had spoken in private. Every detail of their betrayal. Every laugh at human weakness. The recordings played in both Vorthan and human languages. Now everyone could hear the truth. The Centauri station master gasped in horror as he learned how the Vorthans had planned to use his neutral station for ambush and murder. You recorded us? Thexkar roared. Every word, Hana confirmed. Every plan, every insult, every detail of your intended war crimes. But the recordings were not the only surprise. Hana spoke again, this time in Korean. A single clear sentence. Control. This is Nightingale. Authorization is confirmed. Execute, Thunder reply. The explosions outside the windows suddenly changed. Instead of human ships being destroyed, Vorthan vessels began erupting in brilliant flashes of light. What had looked like Vorthan victory became Vorthan disaster in seconds. War Commander Thexkar ran to the observation windows. His face showed disbelief and growing fear. His supposedly invisible strike fleet was being torn apart by weapons that seemed to fire from empty space. What is happening? He demanded. Hana walked calmly to stand beside him at the window. When she spoke, her voice carried new authority. Not the voice of a nervous interpreter, but the voice of someone who had been in command all along. You fell into our trap, War Commander. Just as you planned to use this peace negotiation to ambush us, we used it to ambush you. Outside, more Vorthan ships died. Cloaked human vessels became visible as they fired, revealing a massive fleet that had been hidden around the station. Your entire strike force is surrounded, Hana continued in flawless Vorthan. Your ships are outgunned and outmaneuvered. Your plan has become our victory. Thexkar turned from the window to stare at her. For the first time since the negotiations began, the huge warrior looked uncertain. Who are you? He whispered. Hana smiled. It was not a gentle expression. I am the interpreter you underestimated. I am the witness to your crimes. I am the person who has been recording everything for 3 days. And most importantly, I am the human who just authorized the complete destruction of your fleet. She paused, letting her words sink in. But I am also the person who can stop that destruction, if you are willing to listen to new terms. The trap had been sprung, but it was not the trap anyone had expected. War Commander Thexkar stared at Hana with growing confusion and anger. The small human female had just revealed that she spoke perfect Vorthan and had somehow orchestrated the destruction of his fleet. It was impossible to accept. You are lying, he growled in Vorthan. No single human could command such an operation. You are just a word speaker. Hana reached into her jacket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple identification card, but when she activated it, holographic symbols appeared in the air. The symbols were human military codes that even Ambassador Kim Do-jin had never seen before. My name is Hana, she said clearly in human language so everyone could understand. My official title is Xenocultural Combat Analyst, Level 7, Clearance. My authorization code is Nightingale 7 Alpha. She turned to Ambassador Kim Do-jin, who was staring at her with shock. Ambassador, I apologize for the deception. My true mission here was intelligence gathering and threat assessment. Intelligence gathering? Ambassador Kim Do-jin repeated weakly. The entire diplomatic mission was a cover operation, Hana explained. We knew the Vorthans were planning something. We needed to let them reveal their true intentions while recording everything for evidence. Colonel Park Min-ho stepped forward, his military training helping him understand faster than the diplomat. You mean this whole negotiation was a trap? Yes, and no, Hana replied. If the Vorthans had genuinely wanted peace, the negotiations would have continued normally. But when they chose betrayal and violence, they triggered our counter-operation. War Commander Thexakar interrupted with a roar of rage. I do not care what codes you carry or what titles you claim. You are still a weak human female. In Vorthan culture, only the strong have true authority. He drew his ceremonial blade, a wicked curved weapon as long as Hana's arm. I challenge you to single combat. When I kill you, your authority dies with you. The other Vorthans growled approval. Even facing military disaster, they understood and respected the ancient laws of personal combat. But Hana did not seem worried. Instead, she smiled. I accept your challenge, War Commander. But first, let me explain what Level 7 clearance actually means. She spoke into her hidden communicator in Korean. Control, this is Nightingale. Requesting full tactical display for educational purposes. The meeting room's holographic display system activated. Three-dimensional images filled the air above the conference table. The images showed the space around Harmony Point Station in perfect detail. Every ship was visible, every weapon position, every tactical formation. The Vorthan strike fleet, or what remained of it, showed as red symbols scattered across the display. Most were damaged or destroyed. The human forces showed as blue symbols. There were far more of them than anyone had realized. 47 human warships, Hana announced calmly. 12 of them are Dreadnought-class vessels. All of them have been in position for 6 days, waiting for this moment. Thexkar stared at the display. Impossible. Our sensors showed no human fleet. Your sensors showed what we wanted them to show, Hana replied. Human stealth technology is more advanced than your intelligence reports indicated. She gestured to the holographic display. But ships are only part of the story. Control, show them the real scope. The display expanded. Now it showed not just the local area, but entire star systems. Hundreds of human ships appeared as blue dots throughout. Fourth-hand space. We have been monitoring your empire for 2 years, Hana explained. Every major military base, every supply depot, every shipyard. We know the location of every significant Vorthon military asset. The room fell silent except for the humming of the holographic projectors. Level 7 clearance, Hana continued, means authorization to use any necessary force to protect human interests, up to and including the complete military destruction of hostile alien civilizations. She looked directly at War Commander Thexkar. I have the authority to order the systematic elimination of every Vorthon military installation in the galaxy. One word from me, and your entire empire loses its ability to wage war. Thexkar's grip on his blade tightened, but uncertainty flickered in his yellow eyes. Ambassador Kim Do-jin found his voice. Miss Lee, surely you do not mean total war. I mean whatever is necessary to protect humanity, Hana replied. The Vorthans have attacked human colonies 6 times in the past 3 years. They have killed over 2,000 innocent civilians. They came here planning to murder diplomatic delegates and blame humans for starting a war. She turned back to Thexkar. Your culture respects strength, War Commander. Let me show you what human strength really looks like. Hana spoke another command in Korean. The holographic display changed again. Now it showed detailed schematics of Vorthon ships and weapons. We know how your shields work, she announced. We know the frequency of your energy weapons. We know the composition of your armor plating. We have been studying your technology for years and developing countermeasures. New images appeared showing human weapons designed specifically to defeat Vorthon defenses. Your plasma cannons cannot penetrate our new shield configurations. Your armor cannot stop our kinetic penetrators. Your ships cannot outrun our new drive systems. Thexkar still held his blade, but his confidence was cracking. You are trying to frighten me with illusions and lies. Am I? Hana asked. She touched her communicator again. Control, demonstrate Solution 7 on the nearest target. Through the meeting room windows, everyone could see a damaged Vorthon cruiser drifting near the station. Suddenly, a beam of pure energy struck the ship. The massive vessel simply vanished. No explosion, no debris. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. That was a controlled demonstration using minimal power, Hana explained calmly. The same weapon system could eliminate your homeworld's entire orbital defense network in approximately 4 minutes. The silence in the room was complete now. Even the Centauri station master seemed frozen with shock. Now, Hana said, you still want to challenge me to personal combat? You still think individual strength matters when civilizations can be destroyed by remote command? War Commander Thexkar looked at his blade. Then he looked at the human female, who had just casually demonstrated the power to erase entire fleets. Slowly, very slowly, he lowered his weapon. What do you want? He asked quietly. I want to prevent a war, Hana replied. But if war is unavoidable, I want to ensure that humanity wins it quickly and completely. She gestured to the holographic display. You have 2 choices, War Commander. The first choice is surrender, complete withdrawal from human space, reparations for past attacks, acceptance of human monitoring systems to ensure compliance. And the second choice? Thexkar asked, though he clearly already knew the answer. The second choice is the systematic destruction of Vorthon military power throughout the galaxy. Your ships will be eliminated. Your bases will be destroyed. Your ability to threaten anyone will be removed permanently. Hana's voice remained calm and professional, but her eyes were cold as winter stars. Choose wisely, War Commander. You underestimated the interpreter. Do not underestimate what she is authorized to do. War Commander Thexkar stood frozen for long moments, staring at the holographic displays showing human military superiority throughout Vorthon space. His yellow eyes moved from the images to Lihana's calm face, trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong. You planned this from the beginning, he said finally in Vorthon. We planned for every possibility. Hana replied in the same language. If you had come here seeking genuine peace, you would have left with a fair treaty and new trade agreements. But you chose deception and violence. She gestured to the tactical display. Every choice has consequences, War Commander. You chose to underestimate humanity. You chose to plan murder and betrayal. You chose to see diplomacy as weakness. Thexkar looked around the meeting room. His fellow Vorthons appeared stunned and uncertain. These proud warriors had built their entire culture around the idea that strength and aggression led to victory. Now they faced an enemy that was stronger than them, but preferred to avoid fighting. I do not understand your species, Thexkar admitted. You have the power to destroy us, but you offer negotiations instead. In Vorthon culture, the strong dominate the weak. It is natural law. Hana nodded. That is exactly why you lost, War Commander. You assumed we thought like you. You assumed we wanted conquest and domination. You were wrong. She activated a new, holographic display. This one showed peaceful human colonies, trading stations, and exploration ships. Humans do not seek to conquer other species, she explained. We seek to understand them. We study your languages, your cultures, your ways of thinking, not to exploit weaknesses, but to find ways to coexist. Then why build such powerful weapons? Asked one of the other Vorthon officers. Because sometimes coexistence is impossible, Hana replied simply. Some species like yours see peaceful intentions as proof of weakness. They attack us because they think we cannot defend ourselves. She looked directly at Thexkar. We build these weapons so we never have to use them. We prepare for war so we can have peace. Ambassador Kim Dojin finally found his voice. He had been silent since learning that his diplomatic mission was actually a military operation. Miss Lee, or should I call you something else now? Hana is fine, Ambassador. I apologize for the deception, but it was necessary. How long have you been planning this operation? 2 years, Hana replied. Ever since the attack on Border Station 7 where my brother was killed. The room fell quiet again. Even the Vorthons seemed to understand the significance of personal loss. We knew. The Vorthons would eventually try a major attack. Hana continued. Their pattern was predictable. Probe for weakness, then strike without warning while claiming self-defense. We decided to let them spring their trap so we could demonstrate the futility of aggression against humanity. War Commander Thexkar straightened his shoulders, trying to regain some dignity. So what happens now? Do you execute us as war criminals? That depends on your choice, Hana replied. The evidence of your planned war crimes is now recorded and broadcast throughout the galaxy. Every civilized species knows what you intended to do here. She touched her communicator. Control, show them the diplomatic response. New holographic displays appeared showing messages from dozens of alien civilizations. The Centauri Republic had already declared the Vorthon Empire a rogue state. The peaceful Altarian Federation was calling for economic sanctions. Even the usually neutral Crystalline Collective was expressing disapproval. Your reputation throughout the galaxy is now very poor, Hana observed. Other species will be reluctant to trade with you or support your territorial claims. You have made us outcasts, Thexkar said bitterly. You made yourselves outcasts, Hana corrected. We simply provided evidence of what you were already doing. She walked closer to the Vorthon leader. Despite being less than half his height, she somehow seemed to dominate the conversation. But humanity offers a different path, she said. You can choose to reform your society. You can choose to honor genuine peace agreements. You can choose to become a civilized member of the galactic community. And if we refuse? Hana's expression hardened. Then you will discover what total war against humanity actually means. Not conquest or occupation, but the complete elimination of your ability to harm anyone ever again. She activated one final holographic display. This one showed Vorthon military installations throughout their empire. Red targeting symbols appeared on every base, every shipyard, every weapons facility. We are not interested in ruling your empire or enslaving your people, Hana explained. But we will not allow you to continue threatening innocent species. If you choose continued aggression, we will simply remove your capacity for violence. The display showed projected casualty numbers. Surprisingly, they were much lower than expected for such a massive military operation. Human weapons are designed for precision, Hana noted. We can destroy your military assets while minimizing civilian casualties. Your people will survive, but they will be unable to wage war for generations. Thexkar studied the projections carefully. His military training helped him understand the implications. You could cripple our entire civilization without destroying our population centers. Exactly. We are not interested in genocide, War Commander. We are interested in ending threats to peaceful species. Colonel Park Minho stepped forward. What are the terms of surrender? Hana pulled out a datapad with prepared documents. Complete withdrawal from human space within 90 days. Reparations for all previous attacks on human colonies. Installation of human monitoring systems at all major Vorthon military facilities. And formal recognition of human authority over disputed border regions. Those are harsh terms, Thexkar said. They are survival terms, Hana replied. The alternative is the systematic destruction of Vorthon military power. She looked around the room at all the faces watching her. Humans, Vorthons, and the terrified Centauri station master. This is the choice facing your empire, War Commander. Accept these terms and begin rebuilding your reputation as a civilized species, or refuse and face the consequences of continued aggression against humanity. Thexkar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke in formal Vorthon ceremonial language. I acknowledge the superior strength of the human species. I acknowledge the failure of Vorthon military planning. I acknowledge the authority of the human representative to dictate terms. Then he switched to broken human language so Ambassador Kim Dojin could understand. I accept your terms. The Vorthon Empire will withdraw from human space and pay for our crimes. Hana nodded and made notes on her datapad. Excellent. The formal documents will be prepared within the hour. Your fleet commanders will receive new orders to stand down and return to Vorthon space. She looked up at the huge warrior who had threatened to kill her just minutes before. War Commander, you and your people are not inherently evil. You simply followed a culture that glorified violence and saw diplomacy as weakness. With time and effort, the Vorthon Empire can become a respected member of the galactic community. Thexkar stared at her with something that might have been the beginning of respect. You are a strange species, he said slowly. You have the power of gods, but the restraint of philosophers. We have the memory of victims, Hana replied quietly. We remember what it feels like to be attacked by those who are stronger. We choose not to inflict that pain on others unless they give us no alternative. The war that could have destroyed billions of lives was over before it truly began. 3 months later, Hana stood in the memorial garden on Earth. The wall before her held thousands of names carved in black stone. Each name represented a human life lost to alien aggression over the past 50 years. She found the section she was looking for and traced one name with her finger. Lee Minsu, communications officer, age 22, died defending Border Station 7. The garden was peaceful and quiet. Cherry blossoms fell like snow in the gentle breeze. It was hard to believe that just a few months ago, the galaxy had been on the edge of a massive war. I thought I might find you here. Hana turned to see Ambassador Kim Dojin approaching. He looked older than he had during the negotiations, but more relaxed. The stress of potentially failing in his diplomatic mission had been replaced by the satisfaction of unexpected success. Ambassador, Hana greeted him. How are the follow-up negotiations proceeding? Better than anyone expected, Kim Dojin replied. The Vorthons are actually honoring their agreements. They have withdrawn from all disputed territories and begun paying reparations. More importantly, they seem to be genuinely trying to reform their society. He joined her in looking at the memorial wall. War Commander Thexkar sent a personal message last week. He wanted to formally apologize for his people's actions and request permission to visit this memorial. Hana raised her eyebrows. That is unexpected. Apparently, seeing human military restraint during the crisis changed his perspective on what strength really means. He is leading a faction within the Vorthon military that wants to adopt human-style defensive strategies instead of aggressive expansion. They walked along the path between the flowering trees. The memorial garden was designed to be beautiful and peaceful, a place for remembering the dead without dwelling on anger or hatred. There is something else, Ambassador Kim Dojin continued. The Galactic Council has been receiving requests from several species that want to establish closer relationships with humanity. Our handling of the Vorthon crisis impressed many civilizations. That could be good or bad, Hana observed. Some species might want our protection from their own enemies. Others might be planning to test our defenses. Which is why we need people like you, the ambassador said. The Council has approved funding for a new xenocultural analysis department. They want you to lead it. Hana considered this as they continued, walking. What would the mission be? Preventing future crises like the Vorthon situation, identifying potential threats before they become actual wars, building relationships with alien species based on understanding rather than fear. They reached a bench overlooking a small pond. Koi fish swam lazily in the clear water, unaware of galactic politics and interstellar conflicts. I heard that Colonel Park Minho received a promotion, Hana said, changing the subject slightly. General Park now, Kim Dojin confirmed. He is heading the new Strategic Defense Initiative. Apparently, our demonstration of military capability during the crisis convinced the government that we need better preparation for future alien contacts. And more ships like the ones that surrounded Harmony Point? Many more ships. But also better diplomatic protocols. The military learned that preventing wars is more cost-effective than winning them. Hana smiled slightly. That sounds like something my brother would have appreciated. He always said that the best battles are the ones you never have to fight. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the fish and listening to the gentle sound of water flowing over stones. There is one more thing, Ambassador Kim Dojin said eventually. I received a very strange message yesterday. It was marked with the highest security codes, and came from someone identifying themselves as Overwatch. Hana's expression became more alert. What did the message say? It was an evaluation of your performance during the Vorthon crisis. Apparently, your actions prevented not just a war with the Vorthons, but also potential conflicts with 3 other species that were watching. To see how we handled the situation, the ambassador looked at her curiously. The message also mentioned that there are 11 other people with your level of authorization scattered throughout human space. Is that true? Hana nodded slowly. 12 total. We are placed in positions where we can monitor potential threats and respond quickly if necessary. Most of the time, we appear to be ordinary civilians with mundane jobs. Like interpreters at diplomatic negotiations? Like interpreters at diplomatic negotiations? She confirmed. Kim Dojin shook his head in amazement. How long has this program existed? Since the first alien contact 40 years ago. Humanity learned early that the galaxy contains many species that view diplomacy as weakness. We needed people who could recognize threats and respond appropriately. And, you all have the same authority you used against the Vorthons? When necessary, Hana replied. But we hope never to use it. The goal is always prevention and de-escalation. A messenger bird landed near their bench, chirping cheerfully before flying away toward the city. Life continued its normal patterns, despite the cosmic events that had recently unfolded. Will you accept the position heading the new department? The ambassador asked. Hana looked again at the memorial wall visible through the trees. All those names. All those lives that could have been saved with better preparation and understanding. Yes, she said quietly. But I want to make one thing clear to anyone who works with us. What is that? We study alien cultures not to find ways to defeat them, but to find ways to coexist with them. We prepare for war so we can maintain peace. We develop overwhelming strength so we never have to use it. She stood up from the bench and straightened her jacket. Even here in the peaceful garden, she looked professional and competent. The Vorthons made the mistake of thinking that diplomatic courtesy meant military weakness. Other species might make the same error. Our job is to correct these misunderstandings before they lead to unnecessary conflicts. Ambassador Kim Dojin also stood. And if correction is impossible? Hana's expression became cold and determined, the same look that had convinced War Commander Thexkar to surrender.
Then we demonstrate why underestimating humanity is always a fatal mistake. 6 months later, Hana received an unexpected package at her new office in the Xenocultural Analysis Department. Inside was a small ceremonial blade and a note written
in perfect Vorthon calligraphy. To the human warrior who taught us that true strength serves peace rather than conquest, may your wisdom guide both our species toward a better future. War Commander Thexkar, now Peacebuilder Thexkar of the reformed Vorthon Republic. Hana placed the blade on her desk where she could see it every day. A reminder that even the most aggressive species could choose a different path when shown a better way. Her computer chimed with an incoming message marked with familiar security codes. Another potential crisis was developing in the Outer Rim territories. Another alien species was making threatening moves toward human colonies. Hana smiled quietly and began preparing her analysis. Somewhere in the galaxy, another interpreter, or teacher or scientist was probably getting ready to show hostile aliens why they should reconsider their assumptions about humanity. The work continued. The peace held, and the galaxy became a little safer for everyone. In her desk drawer, next to emergency communication devices and classified authorization codes, Hana kept a small photograph of her brother Minsu. He was smiling and giving a cheerful salute to the camera. The best battles are the ones you never have to fight, she whispered to the picture. Mission accomplished, little brother. Outside her window, ships from a dozen different species came and went from Earth's orbital stations. Trade vessels, exploration ships, diplomatic cruisers, and even a few former enemies who had become friends. The interpreter had been underestimated for the last time.